significant changes to the eGrants enrollment process went into effect on July 2nd of 2018. The goal of this video is to help program staff understand these extensive changes to the enrollment process and how they can minimize the negative impacts on members through careful planning and revising their enrollment procedures. Let's start by looking at each of the changes to the eGrants enrollment process. First, the automated Social Security number and citizenship verification is being shifted to an earlier stage in the invitation and enrollment process. Once the portion of the AmeriCorps enrollment form is submitted by the member, the information provided will automatically be sent to the Social Security Administration for verification. If an issue is found with the applicant's Social Security number and/or citizenship status, the program will need to submit information to demonstrate eligibility. Members cannot be enrolled until their status is moved to verified or manually verified. 2 boxes have been added to the enrollment screen requiring program staff to certify that they have conducted, reviewed, and adjudicated a compliant NSOPW check and have initiated the state and FBI checks. You aren't entering the dates, but there is a timestamp for when you click the boxes in eGrants. Please double check your documentation before clicking these boxes. Keep in mind that a member can't be enrolled before these certification dates. Finally, the time permitted to complete the placement information section on the enrollment screen has been reduced from 30 days to 5 calendar days. Changes in the screens will prevent programs from selecting a date value earlier than 5 days prior to the certification of enrollment. Let's look at this example where the intended start date is August 20th. This means that the program has up until the 25th to complete the placement information section on the enrollment form and click the Enroll Member button. This new member enrollment flowchart is intended to be used with the main member paperwork flowchart and can be accessed on the MyYB website. The process is mostly the same that you're used to. You begin by gathering the information you need to invite a member, like their Social Security number and email address. YouthBuild USA recommends certifying criminal history checks the same day that you invite a member, assuming that the NSOPW has been completed and that the FBI and state check has been initiated. If not, you can certify the criminal history checks any day up until the start of service. Next, the member completes their portion of the enrollment form. Then the Social Security Administration reviews the information. If the information is automatically verified, program staff can complete the placement section at the bottom of the enrollment form, and if not, the staff will submit proof of eligibility before a member can start service. Now let's look at the enrollment form and see some examples of how these changes can play out in eGrants. I'm in the eGrants portal looking at the bottom section of the enrollment form. My goal is to finalize enrollment for this member, so I'm going to click today's date, 7/19, and click the certified checkbox, but this enroll member button isn't working. When you take a look at this form, what do you think the issue is that I'm having? So it looks like this is the issue. The citizenship status for this member is still showing as returned. So until it's verified, I'm not going to be able to finalize enrollment. In this scenario, I'm completing enrollment for a member that I invited back in June. I also completed their CHCs at that time, but we do a short summer break, so we're not actually starting the cohort until this week. So that's why I'm going in now. So I know I've already completed all the CHCs. We'll click these buttons, and let's assume I'm hitting save information as well. So like I said, this week was our start date on Monday, July 16th, so I enter that in, and I certify the form, but the Enroll Member button isn't available. So help me out. What issue am I having here? So the problem I'm having is that I didn't certify the CHCs when they happened. So the timestamp is actually today, July 20th, not back in June when I did them. So that means that the earliest possible start date for this member is going to be today, July 20th. In this scenario, I'm coming back into eGrants to finalize enrollment for a member whose CHCs I certified the same day that I invited them. So I've had them sign the contract, and the date on that is July 12th. So I enter that in the system, and I click to certify the form, but the Enroll Member button isn't showing up, so I can't click and complete enrollment. What's the issue that I'm having here? So the issue is that my start date is outside of the 5-day window. Since today is July 19th, the earliest possible start date for this member is now July 14th. So now we can see that the Enroll Member button is highlighted and I can finalize the process. This is another situation where I'm coming back in to finalize enrollment for a member whose criminal history checks I certified when I went in and invited them. So those are all set. We learned in our earlier example that our start date has to be within 5 days of the day we're going into eGrants to finalize enrollment. So I know it can't be before 7/14, so I'm going to choose that as my start date, but our Enroll Member button isn't available to us yet. So help me out. What do we think the issue is that I'm having here? So it turns out for this member, there needed to be a manual verification. So we had to send in documentation to demonstrate eligibility. And that happened on 7/18. So that means the earliest possible start date for this particular member is going to be 7/18. And now we can see that the Enroll Member button is available.